Grok, is it true? After 7 long years, we finally got a new Star Wars movie. The Mandalorian and the Grogu. Connor, what's the plot?
Well, after Disney replaced Star Wars in film because they got scared of doing these movies, The Mandalorian took over. And The Mandalorian seasons 1 through 3 were decent, even though season 2 was sacrificed to the gods to be set up for Ahsoka and Boba Fett. And Boba Fett was shit, and I haven't seen Ahsoka. Picking up after season 3, the only thing that's relevant is the fact that at the end of season 3, Mando joins the New Republic to work freelance to fight Imperial enforcers after killing Moff Gideon with Bo-Katan. So he's taking up jobs, and he's training his little baby Yoda. He's flying around and fighting Imperials, and it's great until he gets a job that involves him saving Stinky the Hutt so that he can get information on an Imperial warlord coin. And he goes to Nal Hutta and meets with Jabba the Hutt's twin siblings. And they are tell him to find Stinky. Then he finds Stinky, and Stinky speaks perfect basic.
Stinky's all grown up and ripped and looks like episode 4 special edition Jabba.
Yeah, he looks like the 1997 special edition Jabba with a 6-pack. Not even the 2004 one that looks okay, the 1997 fuck-ass looking one. But then he speaks in perfect basic, which is just goes down the uncanny valley, but we'll come back to all that. So anyways, then he catches the coin man, and it's like, alright, movie over, I guess. That was okay, but as you grab your popcorn and start to leave the auditorium, another hour and a half of the movie happens. Mandalorian is captured, and he goes to Nal Hutta, and then he escapes, but then he almost dies after being poisoned by a giant water snake. So then baby Grogu fucks around in the water for a while. Then this Salboba looking dude gives him a fish, and he fucks around for a while. But then he says the Hutts will fight for us, try to capture us forever. So we gotta fight. But then Babu Frick. So the Babu Fricks were around, and they're both Baby Yoda's friend. So the Babu Fricks get the New Republic, who invade a sovereign nation and bomb the ever-living fuck out of their territory and cause instability to all of Nal Hutta. Then Sigourney Weaver says, "We never leave a friend behind." Then Jabba Jr. joins the Rebel Alliance. So Aiden, what did you think of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie?
Hands down, the worst Star Wars movie ever made. It's worse than all of the TV shows, probably. I haven't seen them all, but I feel pretty... Well,
Book of Boba Fett
Book of Boba Fett might be worse. Probably worse than all of the video games. And probably worse than 98% of the EU slop books. It's fucking horrible. It starts out promising, to be fair. The first action scene on the snow planet where he's blowing up the AT-ATs, and I mean, it's a little bit like episode 2 core where it's just action slop, but it's kind of in a fun way, and you're like, okay, if it keeps up this pace, it's fine. And then he goes to the big city, and he's doing some noir stuff. He's walking around the dark city bribing Martin Scorsese, who plays a big Babu Frick for some reason.
No, he's the forearm dude from Solo, a Star Wars story. He plays Grease from Jedi Fallen Order. That's one of the new Disney species.
He plays one of the little
the big
guys.
Four-armed Babu Fricks.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he goes to the arena, and Jeremy Allen White's voice starts coming out of jacked Jabba, and it's the most fucking bizarre thing ever. I didn't know about this. Connor apparently knew. I literally just put my hands over my mouth in shock and awe at what I was seeing and let it wash over me.
Well, I knew Jeremy Allen White played him, so I don't know if I just had the implication that he was speaking. I think I read a review where it said that he was speaking a week ago.
And
But I didn't imagine. I was like, that's a little weird. But I thought it would be like, I am going to speak a little bit of basic. Like sometimes, because like sometimes Jabba would do that shit where he'd say like a couple things, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But most of it's like boonta boonta.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of what I figured.
Like
but he goes,
Allen White speaking into his iPhone.
I don't want to be a crime lord, Mando.
I don't want to be like my dad. I'm a really nice guy.
But,
I just want to be a chef.
But it sounds like the first time he's ever read the lines, and it almost seems like he's like, I refuse to read. So then they just had like somebody like in an earpiece, like Bruce Willis, and they were reading him his dialogue, like when Bruce Willis got Alzheimer's.
Speaking of, Pedro Pascal decided he's not showing up in this movie. There's like a 3-minute segment with Pedro Pascal. The rest of it is very obviously his stunt double while he reads his lines into his iPhone.
Well then, yeah, because when Pedro Pascal takes over, Mandalorian shrinks 6 inches and gains 60 pounds.
And then, there's also like a bunch of interviews where Pedro Pascal's like, I really wanted to respect the lore and not have him remove the helmet ever for any reason.
Fucking reason.
No, you cannot do that. And John Favreau came
probably
up to him and said,
Disney
you have to take the helmet off for 30 seconds.
Please, we're paying you half the budget. you gotta show up for 10 minutes. Show up on set one day so we can get a publicity photo with you and the little Yoda puppet.
The whole Baby Jabba thing it's a remake.
Baby Yoda.
It's a remake of Thor 3, but Hulk is Rick's
for like
Jabba.
30 minutes. It's
30 minutes.
Although
then the plot of the movie runs out. That's the end of the plot. There is no more plot after that. After that moment. Jeremy Allen White hangs out with them for a little bit, and then he gets captured by the Hutts. And then there's legitimately 25 minutes of the Babu Fricks and Baby Yoda making Minions noises and running from a big dog. And then there's another 20 minutes of Baby Yoda eating butterflies in the woods. And then there's a fight scene.
He hangs out with Sebulba for 10 minutes, too.
He hangs out with Sebulba, but Sebulba's like a wise Cajun fisherman.
Yeah.
Who gives him sagely Cajun advice. It's fucking weird. It is boring and long and fucking stupid. It has 30 minutes of plot that all comes in. The plot starts at like 20 minutes in and ends at like 45 minutes in. The movie's 2.5 hours long.
It was way too long. This movie should have been 90 minutes.
You could have cut the entire Baby Yoda eating butterflies subplot, the entire Babu Frick subplot, probably just the entire second bounty hunter subplot with the robot man and his dog. Could have cut the giant evil snake.
His Captain America shield, but he uses it as a hat.
The fish people. All that shit could have gone.
I think you could have cut this down.
You could have cut this down to 2 episodes of the Mandalorian television
show. It should have been 90 minutes is what it should have been.
It feels like they took 2 episodes of the Mandalorian that were already written for season 4, and Pedro Pascal was like, I'm not doing the shitty TV show anymore, it's going to be a movie. And so they took those 2 episodes they wrote and stretched them into 2.5 hours of nothing.
I would argue it feels like an 8-episode season that they awkwardly cut the highlight reel for 5 minutes of each episode from. Cut it together, the fight scenes for all episodes, and then they somehow morphed the plot into 2 hours and 30 minutes. This shit felt like it should have been 9 hours long because they were just forgetting whole segments of plot to speed
There wasn't any plot.
That's the problem, is they had to cut all the plot. That's what they cut. That's what they cut out of. They put 8 episodes into movie format, and Jon Favreau's like, we gotta cut the fat exposition that explains what's going on. Focus.
You know how every Disney Star Wars movie has to end on the fucking hope monologue, the family monologue, where like Carrie Fisher stares at the screen and says, really, the Rebel Alliance is built on hope and family and love will conquer the Empire and whatever.
There's like that 3-year time span.
They do that.
Rogue One, they got really horny to be like, rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah.
God, Rogue One's a terrible movie too.
This has a worse story than Battlefront 2, which has an abysmal story.
Yeah.
But the character who gets the hope monologue in this one is, of all characters, Jeremy Allen White is as Jabba, who's like,
Yeah.
I'm really hopeful for the future, and I don't want to be anything like my dad because he was really abusive, and I'm like sad ripped Jabba, and I have a lot of hope in this rebellion, and this is my new family.
I like how they did updated CGI, but they handed some CGI artists the picture of Stinky from the Clone Wars movie. Previously one of the worst, but coming up on the best half of the Star Wars film. There was a time when I'd say the Clone Wars movie was the worst Star Wars movie. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago.
They said, look at this memorable character, and it's Stinky the Hut. They're like, make a big and ripped, and then make a little one, too. Make this into really hyper-realistic.
Oh my god.
And then make him big and just have a six-pack and speak English.
I feel bad for the little kids who are in the audience, because there's like a group of little 7-year-olds.
There was some kids that were fucking around not watching the movie anymore.
Yeah, because it's fucking boring.
Oh, yeah.
The only time... Normally, like, when we were in the Mario movie, there was, like, kids screaming all the fucking time, and they'd be like... They'd just, like... They'd be randomly vocal stimming where they'd just shout Nintendo Switch.
It's because they're, like, so
Dry
gassed by the fact that Star Fox is yelling Uncle and Powell and shooting stuff, and Mario's jumping on Goombas and doing backflips and goes, I'm just a normal guy!
In this movie, the 7-year-olds were dead silent and just started babbling about Fortnite for the entire movie, except for the one slapstick scene where Baby Yoda puts Mandalorian in the little tiny Yoda hut from episode 5, but it's small and he bonks his head. And then they went back to babbling about Fortnite because they were so bored of the movie. Also, this movie, for like a weird Mandalorian standalone movie, it completely ignores every element of the Mandalorian and every character, but then it just has like random other Star Wars shit. Like there's a whole thing where they're in the Gladiator pit, the Thor 3 pit, and then all the chessboard monsters come out and they fight them for like 15 minutes. It's so fucking weird. It's so bad.
There's the shot where they cut away from an X-Wing shooting and it hits a womp rat.
Yeah, that did happen. No, it's the Babu Fricks that shot the womp rats.
Uh-huh.
And then they go banana, womp rat, banana. It's fucking terrible. It's honestly fucking horrible. It is the worst Star Wars movie. It's worse than Episode 9. It's worse than Episode 8. It's worse than Rogue One, and fucking... God, fucking Solo just keeps looking better and better in comparison.
I think Solo's probably the third best Star Wars movie.
Attack of the Clones is looking better and better.
Oh, Attack of the Clones has been making strides and going up and standing. Because at one time I would say, for a long time, Attack of the Clones was the worst. Then that animated Clone Wars came out.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. I mean, there were always those shitty Ewoks in the holiday special, but like, forget those.
It's worse
Then
than those.
Disney's just popping out just shit after shit. They made Solo and The Force Awakens are the only two I could even consider watchable at this point.
Pedro Pascal didn't even want to be in this movie.
The Last Jedi looks fucking great by comparison. I couldn't believe
insane.
I was sitting there and thinking like, damn, like actually, there's like at least some sort of merit to the Last Jedi. They tried something.
The last 5 years,
it was a shit ass
is
plot.
looking awful good right now.
This is not all. There's some really bad MCU movies.
This movie, this is like what I imagined He-Man to be like, and He-Man probably will be exactly like.
This is gonna be an awful summer. This is one of the movies where you look at the trailer and you're like, there's some promise. But the thing about the trailer that works is that you just see the cool shit that happens, because they sporadically sprinkle a bunch of cool stuff in here that lasts for 15 seconds, so it comes off so vapid when the rest of the movie is just so awful. You're like, okay, that giant snake monster from the Ralph McQuarrie concept art they put in here, and you're like, that's gonna be so badass. And like, if it was surrounded by a good movie, it would. But waiting an hour and a half to get to that, and then it's like 30-second reprieve from the garbage and means literally nothing.
It's like insane. I have no fucking clue what they were going for with this movie. It's like genuinely terrible. It's like honestly awful. Connor, what'd you think of the Mandalorian and Baby Grok?
The Mandalorian's plot is so unfocused it borders on like an avant-garde film. Like, the plot is very simple. He tries to get coin, so he has to get Stinky. And then he gets Stinky, and it turns out Stinky doesn't want to be got. But then he gets coin, so then he gets captured, and Stinky's captured, so then Baby Yoda has to save them. But there's only a few very simple plot points in this movie, but between each plot point is like a stretch of like 30 minutes. Like, it feels like episode concepts, like 8 episode concepts are the major plot points in this movie, and then nothing happens between them. There's a fight scene to start and finish each one. And in between, literally nothing. Like, so much
20
shit
minutes
happens.
of Baby Yoda eating bugs.
I feel like I watched 20 movies because I'm thinking there's like a really cool bar brawl at the start of the movie. There's the really cool dragon scene on Nal Hutta, which they put Nal Hutta on live action screen for the first time. And for some reason, the whole planet looks like it's cheesy fart effect over it, like some cartoon fart.
This movie looks like shit,
effect,
dude.
which makes the movie, the movie looks like shit. The New York City analog they use was cool, and I wish they just spent the whole time there. Also, this is the first Star Wars movie with an opening credits that roll. And while the opening credits are rolling, they're playing like they're on the Rebel base and they're shooting it like it's a Top Gun Maverick montage for some reason. Like, it really looked like Top Gun Maverick. I feel like Jeremy Allen White didn't give a fuck. Pedro Pascal didn't give a fuck. There wasn't a single person in here that gave a fuck. And part of what made the Mandalorian show solid throughout was the side cast, but the lady who played Cara Dune, Gina whatever the fuck, got canceled for saying Republicans have it worse than the Holocaust, and Carl Weathers died, and then they couldn't figure out how to get the weird-looking lady into the movie, and Bo-Katan is doing stuff on Mandalore, so it wouldn't really make sense for her to come out.
Boba Fett could have showed up, maybe? I
guess Boba Fett probably should have showed up or fucking something. Like, maybe he's just sitting on
the only character who talks in this movie is Jeremy
because these
Allen
twins were established in the book of Boba Fett. That's where they were, because they pulled up and they said, we want Tatooine. Then Boba Fett said, I think not. And then they were like, alright, whatever, and they left. And then Boba Fett starts riding a Rancor, and then everyone forgets about the plot for 3 episodes to do a Baby Yoda with the fucking horrendous CGI Luke Skywalker. Honestly, the only saving grace of this movie is it didn't have the horrendous CGI Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, they didn't bring anyone back from the dead. They didn't have CGI Carl Weathers.
The only real fanfare...
I'm sure they tried.
Are there Stinky fans? Because I think the Stinky fans... The Stinky the Hutt is the only real egregious cameo, unless like Sigourney Weaver finally checking off the final sci-fi franchise she's never been in counts. She hasn't been in Star Trek, but she was in Galaxy Quest, which I'll call close enough.
Wasn't she in Section 8?
No, that was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, it was.
Section 31, not Section 8. She's living in the ghetto. Living on public assistance.
Yeah, that shit
which
sucked.
is, you know...
I saw the 60% Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie, and I didn't read any reviews, but I was trying to figure out, like...
I read some
Is this,
reviews.
like, the people who like The Last Jedi being mad that this movie's just, like, stupid fun? Or is it, like, a terrible movie that they're getting
Most of the
into?
professional reviews that were negative went like this. Why didn't they make Andor movie? Rogue One was the Andor movie. It sucked, by the way. It already came out, and you did 2 seasons of Andor. I don't know how much you can milk the character. But the other criticisms were like no Bo-Katan or fucking Carl Weathers. They didn't CGI him back to life, and like that was it. So I was like, you know, it could just be like a more quaint. And a lot of people are like, it's pretty quaint for a Star Wars movie. Which I don't think is the case. I don't think it's quaint. I think people are confused with it being quaint because there's no fucking plot.
It's insane. This movie has a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. The power that
I think this is the only...
crazy.
This is the only, not other than the Ewoks movies, I think this is the only Star Wars movie that doesn't feature a lightsaber. or dark saber.
Yes, so dude.
The Solo had the
so.
1 second. I thought maybe it'd be like Solo, because a lot of people hated Solo. And the first time I watched Solo, I didn't like it that much. But then I started coming around to it.
Yeah, I like Solo well enough.
I like Solo well enough. And I was like, well, maybe it's like Solo, where it's just not what people want. And there's some gratuitous cringe. Like a bunch of Mandalorian references, which were certainly here, but like you had no time to cringe at those because there's so much other shit. Terrible Jeremy Allen White. The villains just were nothing, really. The Hutt villains were kind of fine-ish. The fucking hat Captain America guy just did nothing. He wasn't important.
I don't know what the fuck he was
doing
there.
He was very powerful. He didn't have a name that they mentioned or anything.
No, they just call him Bounty Hunter. I'm sure he has a name somewhere.
He's probably from the Clone Wars or something, because this is... The problem is it's really everything wrong with Dave Filoni encapsulated into 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And, like, this feels like it should have been expanded into a show, and they should have done stuff, but nobody fucking cared. Like, from the writing to the directing to the... It all just felt so soulless and garbage. It's just trash.
Do you think
and
Jon
also, it just
Favreau-
doesn't... Like, there was no point in making this a Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Do you think Jon Favreau was like
There's no
hanging
point in
out with
making this
Robert
movie.
Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. was like, I bet you $1,000 you won't. I bet you $100,000 you won't put a 20-minute dialogueless scene of Baby Yoda eating sticks and twigs in The Mandalorian and Grogu, and he's like, bet I'll fucking do it, dude.
Yeah, no.
How did that make the cut? It was shot. They had a puppeteer on hand. They shot that entire scene. They edited it. There was probably a half dozen editors who looked at it. They had someone go through.
The scene
do
is
CGI
ultimately
passes.
pointless, because what happens is he gets a little nick by the water snake, and the Hutts say that's poisonous, and then he gets in like a 20-minute fight scene, and then he starts dying of poison, which they were starting to kind of like show that was going to happen really early, because they're playing like 15 minutes of sad music during an intense action movie, saying sad because the poison is coming. But I think it's just I feel like most movie watchers who enjoy this movie probably wouldn't have even noticed the moment where he said poison is bad for you. By then they would have already forgotten. The people who would fall for the music trick. And then he falls over. But then eventually, after 30 minutes of Baby Yoda fucking around doing nothing, he just wakes up and he's like, alright, back to the action scene. You know, this movie could have been an hour and 45 minutes if you simply cut out the one shot of him. I mean, you could have even said, he could have said, ow, I got cut. And then you could have just like ADR'd out the poison part. It's not like this whole movie is just ADR.
If you really had to do it, Mandalorian falls over, he's sick. Baby Yoda starts walking through the woods. You have a couple day-night transitions. It's like 2.5 minutes long. There's a little charming scene where he plays with the fireflies. He meets a kindly fisherman who's like something, gives him the fucking berries. He goes back. We move on. You know, 20 minutes.
If you were gonna do those
it's just
scenes
intentionally wasting my fucking
straight.
time.
The thing is, what should have happened is, okay, maybe Mandalorian gets kidnapped by the Hutts. This happens when Mandalorian is captured, and he's captured on Nal Hutta trying to save Baby Jabba. And he gets captured, and then there's one plot where you see, like, Mandalorian's trying to escape, and he's doing this, and blah, 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 and he's in the water snake, and blah, 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 and then you cross-cut it with Baby Yoda. Doing random shit, doing like a 10-minute, make it like a 7-minute journey intercut across like this 30 minutes of the Mandalorian navigating the Hutt castle or something. That's how you do those scenes, not just we're gonna make the Mandalorian get hurt so that we can have 30 minutes of Baby Yoda.
You have Jeremy Allen the Hutt say, "I'm my own man now," and then he starts punching the other Hutts. We've just cut out 45 minutes of the movie. 10 times better.
Yeah. The opening action scene is one of the best parts, but honestly, they probably, if we're talking about pacing, maybe they should have just either sliced that down to like a 5-minute cold opening instead of like 25 minutes, or maybe, dare I say, just started on the Top Gun Maverick scene.
No, I think you cut out all the talking from the cold open. You have Mando walks in that first scene, by the way. Literally 5 times in the first 10 minutes of the movie, Mando does the thing where he shoots someone and then he shoots them again while he's walking past them without turning around. Literally 5 times.
I gotta imagine, though, it's gotta be the most disheartening thing in the world as a director for Jon Favreau. Let's be fair to Jon Favreau. He starts his morning 8 a.m. He's got a crew of 70 people working for him. He sits in the director's chair and a peanut butter covered ping pong ball is floating around. There's a stuntman in a suit and a fucking assistant reading the lines behind him while he says, "Look surprised, you're about to get in a fight scene." And he yells that, and then there's a Baby Yoda puppeteer down below, and it's green screens. And then at the end of the day, you FaceTime Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, and Pedro Pascal. And Pedro Pascal has his screen off because he's just in his underwear. He's jerking off or something. He's hugging his on-call pregnant women. And he's not paying attention. He's like, "What do you think about this character moment? We thought about maybe like changing something up." And you just hear a muffled, "Oh, I'm so excited to see your baby" in the background or something. And he's hugging a pregnant woman.
A month and a half
He's
into
like,
shooting
"Pedro, you're not muted.
Pascal.
Pedro, you're not muted."
A month and a half into shooting, Pedro Pascal shows up on set for his 20-minute workday, and he, instead of a ping pong ball covered in peanut butter, they have a pregnant woman on a harness who they lift in the air to direct his eyes around.
That's the hut. Oh, for the little dragon snake scene. Yeah, the one time he was on set, and he's like literally like Vin Diesel in Fast X, where he's like kind of fat and old looking. And he looks like he doesn't want to be there even slightly. It's just sad. It's like, put the fucking mask on and get the stuntman back out of here. I genuinely was feeling that way when I saw him. Because sometimes the best part about like the season 3 of The Mandalorian is that it really like the first season you could tell he's like, okay, I'm still hungry, you know, I got Narcos, but like anybody can play a fucking Mexican cartel guy if you're a Mexican.
Yeah.
Movie star. You're not movie star, you're just a guy. And now he's like, okay, now what am I? He's Robert Downey Jr.ized, where he doesn't give a fuck. Because I remember, like, you look at, like, the Avengers movies, and, like, Iron Man movies, Robert Downey Jr. is, like, at 11. And those Avengers movies, he's sitting at, like, a 5.5. And that's how it felt. Or it's, like, Vin Diesel in, like, one of those random ones, like Fast 8 or something. He's just tired.
Well, the
his
great
eyes
thing
are
for
bloodshot because he's fucking...
The great thing for Downey Jr.
hungover.
Pedro Pascal's got it good because at least in the Avengers movie, you know, there was an established precedent that you would see inside of Iron Man's mask.
Yeah,
so,
like
Robert
it was
Downey Jr. had to
CGI or
clip his
iPhone
iPhone into a
90% of the time. And yeah, they put him in the little
They
helmet
gave him a little
rig.
helmet with an iPhone.
And he had to
"Wiggle
show
your
up
head
for
around."
2 scenes. I was like, "Hey, Cap, what are you getting fat out here or something? You fat ass."
Fat fuck.
He's got to bully people. He's prank calling Thor. He's like, "You should just kill yourself, you fucking loser. No one likes you." And then he hangs
Pedro
up.
Pascal don't even got to do that. He just reads his lines into the iPhone and shows up for a half day.
And this is how all of his line reads sounds. It's like, "So you're like the son of Jabba?"
Jeremy Allen White's lines aren't much better.
Jeremy Allen White's lines are actually worse. He doesn't give a fuck.
Jeremy Allen White is on that Chris Pratt Mario grind where he's just talking his normal voice into the iPhone and sending
The problem
it
is he's not good. I wonder if they like signed him and they're like, he'll be able to do
he's the guy from
voice
Bear.
line.
And then
He'll be able to read his lines. And like apparently some actors don't need to be voice actors because he sounds so uninterested. Like I feel like he's sitting up on a mic.
He's like, my dad was such a dick to me, bro. I was like, I just want to lift weights.
I'm not necessarily saying Jeremy Allen White didn't care. I feel like he probably... But no, if he did care, he was definitely pretty awkward and not a trained voice actor.
Yeah.
Like,
the only good voice actor in the movie is...
Because there are some actors who are genuine actors who you get the vibe care about the project well enough, and they fucking suck. But
Yeah. Jeremy Allen White did not care.
I didn't get the
only
vibe he
good
gave a fuck. He put no emotion into anything.
Sigourney Weaver sucks in this movie. The only person who's doing a good job is Steve Bloom, who voices the weird fucking blue monkey because he's just an actual voice actor who happened to be in this movie. Martin Scorsese as the big Babu Frick is pretty good, I guess. He's in the movie for 3 minutes. Also, the villain of this movie is just Dr. Evil. Like, they dress him up like Dr. Evil. They give him the weird raised eyebrow.
He's not even the villain. He's the villain for an hour. An hour of the movie. Not even, because they're like, who's the machine? I also like the plot point. So he flies back to the rebel base, and he's like, well, I'm going to have to turn you in, baby Jabba. And he's like, dude, the coin guy you're looking for is the guy you've talked to 15 times already.
He's the blatantly evil man.
For
who
some
looks like
reason,
Dr.
he
Evil.
and nobody else told you that this is the mysterious
The guy
mystery
who's-
coin. I also don't understand why no one had his picture, because they're like, he's the most evil guy ever, and no one has his picture. And yet this man moonlights as a crime boss who runs a syndicate with like 7 planets.
Yeah.
And everyone
And he
knows
looks
him.
like Dr.
And
Evil.
everyone knows him. Because, like, Martin Scorsese's like, yeah, everybody knows that fucking guy. He's so evil. And he doesn't do anything. He kind of is evil. He tries to rig his
sells
gladiator death match, and he sells salt and stuff. But, like, I don't know. Like, what's the secret? What did he do? Did he run...
He was evil.
Pedro Pascal
He's
should have been
Dr. Evil.
sitting there, and he's like, what's so evil about this guy? And he's like, they were running Auschwitz. He was running Space Auschwitz.
He was putting the Babu Fricks in the little Babu Frick-sized gas chambers.
Yeah, like something, you know? You gotta add some... Well, this is the least... This villain is 4.5 feet tall. He looks like a missile-shaped body.
Yeah, honestly, it looks more like Mini-Me than Dr. Evil.
He does.
He's like big Mini-Me. This fucking movie, dude.
It's I don't even think it's debatable. I really do think it's the worst of. We'll say the real Star Wars movies. The Ewoks movies, I don't really count. Like, they're technically Star Wars, but kind of not really. And the holiday special ain't a movie. But if we're talking about, like, and we'll even discount the Clone Wars. But if we look at, like, the 12 theatrically released main Star Wars big budget comparable to, it's not even close to, like, and like it's like
fucking worse than
how
Punisher
the
Last
fuck
Kill.
how the fuck are there so many, like, Fast and Furious has a similar amount of movies, and like I would argue that Fast and Furious is a more consistent franchise.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there aren't a lot of franchises that are more... What is so hard about Star Wars? I've read or listened to like 150 fucking Star Wars books at this point. And what I can tell you is, like, most of them are... I think it's over.
I would argue...
Studio, probably.
I would argue...
Usually.
Fast and the
Disney era.
Furious has an over 50% ratio of good films. Not by a long shot. Very slightly over 50%.
Let's calculate
4,
this
5,
quick.
6,
Phantom
7.
Menace. I think we... Phantom Menace, I would put in the bad category.
Yep.
Attack of the Clones, definitely bad. Revenge of the Sith, I'll give it to him and say that one's fine.
say... Okay.
We'll say Revenge of the Sith is fine.
We've
It
got
has
4,
a lot
5,
of problems. 4, 5, 6, those are good. Rogue One is...
Bad.
Just bad. Solo is good, so that's 5. Mandalorian Grogu is bad. The sequels, I'll give it to Force Awakens. I like that movie. The problem with Force Awakens is more so the fact that it's just a remake of A New Hope that was promising new things later, and those new things later sucked balls.
Okay, so we'll call it a solid 50% on Star Wars. We got 4, 5, 6, 3 to an extent, Solo.
Then the other side.
Solo and 7. 3 and 7 are they're tilted on the little border.
3 and 7 are on the border.
Fast
and
and
I
the
wouldn't be
Furious.
willing to call them either of those bad.
Fast and the Furious, we got 4, 5, 6, and 7 off the bat. I'd argue for 8. 3's a
9 is
okay.
terrible. 1 and 2 are pretty much terrible.
10 is,
10 is terrible, but it's funny.
10 is
I don't know if that
terrible.
counts. There is like a funniness factor that the bad Star Wars movies are never funny.
That's not true. The prequels are funny.
The prequels are funny.
The new bad Star Wars movies are
Okay,
funny.
so I'll put X in the bad category because I like X the same way I like the prequels. Because I like the prequels as like bad movies.
Okay, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7. I think 8 is like borderline. It's a little bit stupid.
The casino planet's really stupid. And like
No, I'm talking Fast and
Fast
Furious.
and
4,
Furious.
5, 6, 7. 8's a little borderline. 3's a little borderline. We're sitting at 6 out of 9 instead of 6 out of 12.
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10
But
instead
still.
of 6 out of 12.
It's a similar ratio, but like there's something like offensive about all the bad stuff. Not all of them. Like the prequels have a special place in my heart, but like the Disney Star Wars movies, when they're bad, they're just fucking
offensive.
horrible. They're offensive. Each one. Each one offends me in their own
There's
unique
never been a
way.
line in any of the Fast and the Furious movies as bad as somehow Palpatine returned. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
No.
It's
No,
also
probably.
so hard when I like compare it because it's like, how come like a lot of these novels are written by like one dude and like obviously there's like editors and continuity people, but like consistently, even like the people in the Star Wars plantation, like Caravan Scott, who have worked since 2016 and pushed out 200 Star Wars stories, are like consistently better than Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and some third guy who's clearly a hack. They really jumped the gun saying we're giving it to Dave Filoni. I think people are gonna miss the Kathleen Kennedy era because I will say,
Dude.
Kathleen Kennedy was swinging and missing a lot of times, but the 3 times she made a good movie, it was a good movie.
Dave Filoni fucking...
Dave
Filoni era is just going to be more of this slop.
Dave Filoni can make in Clone Wars. The nice thing is the announcer says the exposition, and then there's like 5 minutes of them flying on a spaceship, and then they fight, and that's pretty much all the
And
Dave
it's over in
Filoni
22
animated
minutes.
projects. And like the Mandalorian show had really good side characters to lift up. I mean, the whole point of Mandalorian is like, bro is next to silent, but he really loves his baby. The problem is this movie expects a near silent lead played by an uninterested Pedro Pascal and a fucking CGI baby to carry the plot by themselves. And people come and go. Zeb is an important character, and then he goes till the last 5 minutes. And
Even Jeremy the Hutt.
Jeremy leaves for
He gets
good portion.
kidnapped for like just straight 50... Jeremy's the only character talking. He's the only character talking
Sigourney
in the
Weaver
movie.
is generously in 7 minutes of this movie.
Jeremy's the only character who talks, and there's a 50-minute stretch where he's kidnapped by the Hutts, not in the movie, and we get Babu Frick playing the minions and fucking Baby Yoda eating twigs and fish and whatever the fuck.
I will say the music was just the music from the show, but they like put a bunch of money to get like some like fucking
I thought the music was
choirs and stuff to enhance it.
Yeah, they had a couple
So
cool...
it
I
was like
liked that.
the good music for. I like the Mandalorian music a lot. So
liked
hearing it
that
with
music
like
when
a
they,
giant John Williams budget and like
when
a
they're,
giant orchestra and
When they're
choir.
like initially dropping into New York, they got like that
Yeah.
like, kind of...
I liked that
like
too.
EDM-y stuff.
One thing
Like,
I
the
did
music was
appreciate
really
is
good.
they had a variety of music depending where they were going. Like
music was
Nalhada had some intense music, but also like in the scene where he meets the Hutts, it's more
And then it had a
Huttish, you know,
25
cantina
minute
style.
sad rendition of the Mandalorian theme for Poison Mando arc.
Yeah, it was.
But most of the music was good.
Yeah, I mean, I liked. I don't remember what. I think it was the fight scene when Baby Yoda decides he's gonna save Mandalorian, so he's suiting up and all that shit by himself, and they play like the Baby Yoda's triumph version of the music. So there's like a fucking giant choir and like a fucking 700 piece instrumental
Yep.
fucking orchestra playing it, and it's
The music was good.
very epic. That was like the one thing that stayed consistent, and I felt myself really missing the side characters. It kind of has that Hobbs and Shaw problem where it's like you kind of take out, you don't realize how much the side characters are lifting up Macho He Fights Man and the cute baby, you know?
Yeah, you really need a straight man for the Hobbs and Shaw problem. You need a straight man to be the one to react to all the stupid shit going on.
That might be the problem too, because like Carl Weathers, you know, and Cara Dune and all these characters had like some goofier moments. I'm not saying they were like grounded characters, but you compare it to entirely CGI Zeb from Rebels, who just has no character in this movie. Sigourney Weaver, who's there for 7 minutes, but their companion for the majority of the movie is either the Babu Fricks and then CGI Jabba the Hutt that speaks basic, which is really uncanny valley and weird.
Yeah. You need a character like Carl Weathers. Like, Carl Weathers' character in The Mandalorian was basically like being the I'm too old for this
got
shit
like
guy.
fucking Bill Burr. Like, they would cycle through who the character was, but
you need Carl Weathers to be there going, I'm too old for this shit, Mando, and then he has a heart of gold and he comes back to save him, but all they had here was Sigourney Weaver flying an X-Wing and the Blue Man.
I mean, even season 3, before they kind of found Bo-Katan to lean on in like episode 3, I remember starting season 3 of Mandalorian and being like, this is so fucking boring. And I think I realize now, because once Bo-Katan shows up for the last half of that show, it's a lot better. And it's because Mandalorian works as a cool fight scene man more than he works as a solo character. He's an adventurer who shows up and watches other things. He's like Rin Tin Tin or fucking Parker the Thief.
Yeah.
Or Lupin.
Yeah.
Or you know.
He's like
Dick
every
Tracy.
character not named Goku in Dragon Ball.
Yeah. It's like you show up and you're helping other people with it's other people's stories. Like the first 3 seasons of Mandalorian, and season 2 was abused by horrible over cameoing, but
yeah,
season 1 was like who's Mando helping this week, and season 3 was like fucking bullshit, and then
the best part of season
shows
1
up and it gets good.
Even before Baby Yoda starts showing up, it's just like he meets some random farmer, and the farmer's like, some fucking asshole stormtroopers are shooting my goats, so he goes on this little western venture to save the goats, and then he goes on his way.
Once the exposition is out of the way from the third party, they don't really have to accompany him or not. Mando and Baby Yoda can run around doing antics and fighting the creature, then after 10 minutes it ends.
Yeah.
The problem is it was like that in movie format. And half the time they didn't have anyone to back them up that was interesting, or the creepy, weird Stinky the Hutt, so...
The Babu Frick said banana and farted and whatever the fuck the minions do.
Yeah, it was...
Yeah,
I mean, as I said, it was almost avant-garde in how little there was any sort of emotional core.
How little plot can you put in a movie? Challenge level impossible.
I think the fact that everyone's kind of giving this like a 2 out of 5 and stuff, like, I think critics have been generous on it. And I think there's some sort of Disney effect where... Because there was there were cool things in the movie, not necessarily much. I think the first time some people get kind of tricked to be like, well, it couldn't just be fucking garbage. That's what happened to Ant-Man, because a lot of people were giving Ant-Man, like, you know, pretty okay scores. Like, critics skewered it a lot more than... I respect how many critics weren't. Only 34% of critics were bribed by Funko Pops into giving Ant-Man a good score. But here, I feel like people are like, well, the Mandalorian's beloved, so there was that preconceived. And Baby Yoda's beloved, but it's a little past its prime. But we also everyone loves Pedro Pascal, and there's like 3 good fight scenes, so everyone's like, fuck, I guess 5 out of 10. That's what it felt like, because even I was like wanting to like the movie better, and then once the first half of the movie ended, I was like, you know what? Is a little slow, but maybe the coin guy will break out or bring a big militia in and he'll do something. But or the Hutts will come in with an art. But no, the second half is just the worst shit I'd ever seen in my life. And The first half was...
Halfway through the movie, I reviewed it and gave it a 1.5 because I was like, the initial fight scene was kind of cool, but it's fucking
at
stupid.
like 1.5.
But then after the 20 minutes of Baby Yoda eating bugs and sticks, I was like, no, I can't. This is a half-star movie.
This was the worst Disney movie since Ant-Man
straight
and
up
the Wasp:
intentionally
Quantumanium.
wasted my time.
I will say this is, and I think it's like just a fucking crying shame that they're like, everyone's like, this is the grand return of Star Wars. It's been 7 years, guys. Just fuck off. It's fine.
Maybe Star Wars doesn't need the return. Maybe we can just give up.
Like, I think the thing is, what they should have done is made this a TV season, and if the TV season sucked, nobody cares. That's what happened on Disney Plus. Like, they made the Boba Fett show. Boba Fett's a beloved character of 40 years. Blah blah blah. The show sucked balls. Everyone forgot about it the next day. The Acolyte has, like, the weird thing where, like, the racists and the fucking people who want to be, like, socially conscious are getting in some sort of, like, culture war over it that continues to this day for no reason. But the thing is, I was like, well, the Acolyte kind of sucked, and then I moved on with my life, and I'll never watch Acolyte again.
This is, like, probably hypothetically better than Boba Fett, but I don't remember anything about Boba Fett anymore, so I don't know.
Boba Fett had some weird stuff. Boba Fett had more of a plot. It was just really fucking boring, mostly. Yeah. It was really fucking boring, and then it forgot about Boba Fett for 2 episodes to do some admittedly really solid... Those were 2 of the best episodes of The Mandalorian. It just at the expense of the fact that they couldn't get Boba Fett working, so they just said, fuck it. And then they sacrificed Boba Fett on the altar, and Tamora Morrison keeps being like, when can I come back as Boba Fett? And I'm like, that show sucked, and it's your fault, jackass.
I'm going to sound like a gigantic jackass saying this, but instead of making this movie, they should have probably gone with Ahsoka, because Ahsoka is like a character and talks and has thoughts and feelings that aren't just, I have a baby and does things.
No, Ahsoka really doesn't. That's the problem. Okay. Ahsoka smirks and goes, I'm not a Jedi or a Sith, and then she fights a fucking CGI spirit-hating Christian.
They should have made the Acolyte a new movie.
And also, Dave Filoniized Ahsoka, which is the reason I haven't watched it. I've seen probably 3/4 of the show in clips and stuff, but the problem is, like, half of it's like, he's like, you're in the world between worlds, which means you can fight me, Ahsoka. I'm Anakin. Or am I Darth Vader? She fights him. And then there's, like, some Darksiders where, like, you don't understand, the gods of Moradis are coming.
They should have made
And then Ezra comes out, and Ezra's like, you thought I died? I'm a creation of Dave Filoni, so I never die. Who cares about dramatic stakes?
Darth Maul Shadowlord.
And then Sabine is...
Just make Darth Maul Shadowlord a movie or something, man.
Darth Maul Shadowlord
People would have liked
the edgy crap that everyone's been asking
for. Liked it.
And here's the thing. I always see, like, people like Darth Melvin be like, we need to make edgy Star Wars bullshit. It'll be so much better than Dave Filoni's crap and Kathleen Kennedy's crap. And then what happened was Darth Maul Shadowlord came out and unfortunately proved him absolutely correct. Especially when contrasting with the Mandalorian. Maybe the only thing they're capable of is finding excuses to make Darth Maul go, and then open his lightsaber against some other guy. That is what the filmmakers at Lucasfilm are capable of today. They have the money to make very impressive Darth Maul fight sequences. Fucking just make the Revan show. Say, Revan, he's the god tier, he's fighting all the Jedi, but he also fights the Sith, because any excuse for him to get in a lightsaber fight. That's the plot.
Revan played like Glenn Powell, and he takes his shirt off every 30 seconds.
But he still wears the mask. But Glenn Powell's going to want to balance it. Oh, maybe at one point his mask gets cut open and he has that fucking... Got that $1 million grit smirk going.
Now, you gotta...
No, people want Keanu Reeves and he'll get his own apprentice. He'll be like, I need my own... Everyone says Keanu Reeves because the default sprite for Knights of the Old Republic kind of looks like Keanu Reeves.
Okay, wait. Glenn Powell as Kyle Katarn. But he takes his shirt
And
off
for
every
some
5
reason,
seconds.
he fights Revan repeatedly.
And he fights Revan.
Totally different time periods, doesn't matter.
Okay. No. He fights Darth Maul repeatedly.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. It's all fixed. Darth Maul's there. People, the one character people still like, Darth Maul. Glenn Powell is Kyle Katarn, who keeps taking off his shirt. Sydney Sweeney
I
is
think
Kyle
they just
Katarn's
throw
girlfriend.
anything remotely... Yeah, she plays Jan.
Ryan Gosling can
Anything
appear from
remotely
this movie.
famous, if Ryan Gosling, they can get him in there just because it's Ryan
If people
Gosling.
like the Starfighter, Ryan Gosling will be there.
I
If
think.
not, then it can be...
Okay, here's
Poe
a thought.
Dameron.
Liam Neeson is recast as Talon Card. Totally different
Sure.
guy.
Yeah,
But
man.
So he shows up and then he says at the end of the movie, the only reason you have Talon Card in there is for one reason. So that he can say, have you heard, we have to fight the Throne and the Darth Maul. But have you heard of Mara Jade Skywalker? And then she comes out with her purple lightsaber that she starts swinging around. She says, in the next movie, I'm going to be important. Then Glenn Powell shakes his head and says, this is going to be one hell of a ride, or something like that. And they could probably do that forever. As long as they can find more people for the hype beast to bring up.
And then Harry Styles can appear in like a gladiator uniform, and
Here's-
Patton Oswalt is a little goblin.
Here's
thing.
my solution. I don't love Sean Levy, but he's been making crowd pleasers since Night at the Museum. I have to give him that. He made like 6 Night at the Museums. They all made a shitload of money. He made Deadpool 3, did a bunch of very popular Ryan Reynolds slop on streaming.
They did the gamer one where Ryan Reynolds is the gamer and turns into Captain America.
This is genuine. Oh, Free Guy. Yep, that
Free Guy.
that movie was slop.
Free
And
Guy
people
made
loved
like
it.
$900 million.
People loved it. It was slop, and it came out right during COVID. I had to do the preview screening for the critics, and then I fell asleep. I was in the Kevin Durant. I was running the theater, and we had a private room made up for Kevin Durant because it's Minnesota. His private room. So I was sitting there watching the critics screening of Free Guy, and I remember just falling asleep. Then I woke up hours later and people were like calling for me on the walkie-talkie, and I was like, I just fell asleep watching Free Guy, I'm gonna be honest, but I was pretty hungover. My point is, though, Sean Levy can make a real fucking movie, and it'll be the most simple, crowd-pleasing bullshit
Ryan
ever.
Reynolds can play
It'll
whoever
be
the fuck
virtually
he wants.
trash.
Ryan Reynolds can play whoever
Then
he
you
wants.
have Ryan Gosling, who... Ryan Gosling has been very good and stuff, but also he can do crowd-pleasing bullshit, and he's an actual movie star, unlike Pedro Pascal's disembodied voice over a stuntman's masked performance. Then you get some evil supervillain for them to fight. Maybe like Grand Moff Hitler or
Glenn
some
Powell
shit.
with a
Who cares?
lightsaber.
Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell's his buddy with a lightsaber. No, here's how it ends. Because apparently the movie's about him like transferring a little Force-sensitive boy. Well, a bunch of Imperial First Order, who knows? Somebody's trying to get him. So he flies around, and what it sounds like from Starfighter is it's a Star Wars take on Top Gun Maverick. Not just one little opening credits scene for some reason. It's the full Top Gun Maverick. Have we been going for over an hour? No, just 43 minutes. 54 minutes. Okay, I'll keep this brief. So it's just Top Gun Maverick, right? But at the end, he gets to Rey's Jedi Academy. And Rey's standing there and she says hello. And then Glenn Powell walks out from behind her and says, I survived Order 66. I'm 80 years old, but my species looks like a 30-year-old hunky man. And he's shirtless for some reason, but he's wearing the traditional Jedi prequel robes.
Yeah.
And his sun glistening off his six-pack, and then they say,
little
I guess there's hope
six-pack.
for the Jedi after all. And then you play the full... You don't go half-ass at the credits like they did here. You go... Blah, 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 blah. You do the whole 9 yards. I want... Opening crawl. You can't... I hate that Disney's like, fuck the opening crawl. We're gonna give you a fucking 2-sentence synopsis to start. Synopsis. And then that's it. There's nothing epic about it. So you make it epic, and then the other thing...
shows up as a ghost.
And at first I was gonna say, when halfway through the movie, I'm like, they should have just dropped Starfighter first, and this could have been like some sort of filler. You know, you drop your hype, your actual movie, and then you drop this as like a you know, here you earned
Drop
it
this
for
on
3
Disney
for,
Plus.
You earned this for lifting up Disney Plus for 3 years, and you make it a little cheaper too. But then I considered further, and I said, just cancel this and just put out Starfighter. They should have just waited. This is like I feel like this is going to negatively affect Starfighter.
Yeah,
I really think it will.
It will.
And Starfighter had a chance to just be like the standalone, okay, totally original. He's not getting the fucking Death Star plans, you know, it's in a new era. It's Ryan Gosling, a movie star. I was like, you know what, make it related to nothing. Obviously, like Ray or some fucker, Finn or something is going to show up in the post-credits. It's fine.
He'll probably be Poe Dameron. He'll be like nice flying text.
Yeah, you know, and that's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
But, you know, Star Wars, the only way you could save Star Wars theatrically is by making a real movie. And I'm not convinced. I would say, and I like The Force Awakens and Solo, I don't think Disney is yet to make a single real movie in the Star Wars franchise. And I would argue, as bad as the prequels are, those are real movies. George Lucas made up original concepts. Each one looks different, feels different. You know, there isn't fan service. The original 3 are different movies. They're all, you know, it's all off of Star Wars, but they all feel like real movies. Disney's made 6 pieces of slop, and 2 of them happen to be okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Aiden, would you recommend whatever Mandalorian and Grogu movie?
No. I mean, it's going to be on Disney Plus eventually, and even then, still no. Connor, would you recommend Mandalorian and Grogu?
I would recommend you watch seasons 1 through 3 of Mandalorian and Grogu. A Mandalorian. Well, you can yeah, okay, but then watch those 2 Mandalorian episodes, and they're on the thumbnails on Disney Plus. So watch those 2 for Book of Boba Fett.
They don't hide it.
You don't gotta watch the rest of Book of Boba Fett. Ahsoka just seems like slop, but if you really feel inclined. And then skip this movie. Because season 3 had a really good finale, and it's like, okay.
You can skip.
Mandalorian lives in a little hut, the end.
You can skip the first 4 episodes of season 3 because they're so bad they made me quit the show.
Yeah.
Just look for the one that has Bo-Katan in the thumbnail.
Well, yeah, you can skip like the first 2 episodes. I like the one that's like an hour, just unrelated, where it's just a drama movie about the Nazi scientist man. Wanting to be a good guy, then getting lobotomized. That was a good episode, even though it had fuck all to do with anything, because Pershing doesn't come back in that show, nor does he come back here, so that was just a wasted hour. I imagine that was going to come back in a real season 4, but that's a good episode.
Honestly, it probably
Start
wasn't.
with the Dr. Pershing episode.
They probably sent Pedro Pascal's lines for like an episode that didn't get shot, and
he forgot.
He forgot to send them, so like, fuck. They just dug up some spec script and made it Star Wars.
Probably. On that note, I wouldn't recommend it either.